Hi, my name is Mark Adams, and welcome to the Private Label Report. This is a podcast where I invite you into my office and we talk about all things Amazon private label selling. Pull up a chair. Let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's podcast. This is going to be kind of more of a rant, I guess, than a podcast, but I want to talk a little bit today about competition. But before we get started, thanks again wherever you're listening, whether it be on iTunes or either watching on YouTube or even on my blog and website. Competition. I got an email the other day. It said, is there too much? I think there's too much competition. I think too many people come into the market, and I'm hesitant to get started. What do you think? Well, okay, I understand and accept that many people think that. It's almost funny that people want to come into a market and they feel that they own it. Nobody ever has the right to ever come in and try and sell a competitive product. I don't know how many emails I see or post in Facebook groups or somebody else has come in my market. Well, okay, that's fine. And the first thing in all this is you kind of got to get over the shock of that happening, because really what that means more than anything is that you have picked a good and profitable market. And I think you've got to know going forward, and you have to expect that. But I think the bigger question is here too. Let's see if we'll come back to that. But let's address some things. Are there too many sellers on Amazon right now, and is it too late to get started? And I don't think so at all. I mean, I think right now you hear, well, so and so many sellers come in Amazon, and who knows what the number is. But let's just say let's just say yesterday we had 1,000 new sellers. I doubt that, but that's maybe over the last week maybe. But let's say you had 1,000 new sellers. Okay, fine. But what happens if in that same time you had 100,000 new buyers? I probably never thought of it in those terms or in that context, but yes, there are sellers coming into the market, but there's also more and more buyers coming to the market. And I look at somebody like my wife who, I've been online for years and kind of always one of those people on the bleeding edge, but my wife, bless her heart, is not. And she was going to go do run errands and buy all these things, and I looked at her and says, go sit at the desk, take 3 minutes, order it, and be done with it. And just this light bulb went off her head that she didn't have to go out and drive through town and this store and that store and buy things. And again, it was just foreign to her to just do that online because it was some unusual things that she needed, but it still was available online. And I think there's more and more people like that who are coming into this every single day. So as far as I'm concerned, I think Amazon is still at its infancy as far as Amazon sellers. Are there some very mature markets? Absolutely. Are there some you shouldn't enter? Absolutely. But that still leaves the vast majority of markets which are open to competition. Now, again, competition, as hard as it is, and we wish we never had to deal with anything, but competition actually makes you a better seller. It makes you more profitable because it forces you to innovate, to manage your company better, to do things, to make better decisions so you move your business forward. It also excites you. It motivates you if you have any competitive drive whatsoever. But think of all the businesses that are out there. For every burger or every McDonald's, there's a Burger King. For every Apple, there's the Windows and all their things from Microsoft. There's Ford, there's Chevy. Name me one product, one brand, one industry that doesn't have some type of competition. And whatever product or brand that you're thinking about, you should learn to expect there's going to be competition. But I think, too, the people who are going to ultimately thrive in this business are the people who think of this in terms of building a brand versus just launching an Amazon product. And again, there are no doubt more quantity people coming in, but I think as you raise the bar as an Amazon seller, that includes getting better at your management, getting better at your packaging, getting better at your design, and creating a professional level product that would sell on Amazon or sell anywhere else. The days of throwing junk up there, those which you should never done anyway, but those days are gone. You've got to run this like a legitimate business. And that means you've got to get the economies of scale that come from having multiple items. You're going to get multiple sales from having multiple items. But when you have a brand, I think all kinds of good things come on. As I started building my first brand over this period of time, I've had several people approach me and want to buy very, very large quantities of orders. And that's just because you're out there and you've got multiple items and you look like a real company. You have a professional looking website where you can sell products through your website. You're a real business. You're a real brand. And I think for people who approach the Amazon business that way, whereas Amazon is only one of your ultimate markets where you sell, to where ultimately it's your website, ultimately it's maybe through trade shows or a wholesale company or whatever it happens to be, then those are the people who are going to be left standing, whereas the people who come into this and they're thinking only a product, they don't put any effort into it, they don't manage it like a company, they don't run it like a company, they don't do any marketing, they don't do any promotion, those are the people who competition will affect. But ultimately in this, I'm a big believer, bring it on, let's line up, let's go. I'm convinced 99 out of 100 times I'm going to win because I'm more competitive, I'm more driven than most people. And I think there are a lot of people out there who are like that. And again, obviously I don't always win. However, I usually do because I am more persistent and I will see a project through. You got to understand most people won't. So for every person who's come in Amazon, some of them will simply give up too easily. And that's just on Amazon and everywhere else. And again, that's human nature. But if you ask yourself, really, is there too much competition? And I'm afraid of that. I think you're wise to be aware of it. But I think that only means there's money to be made in the market. And if you ultimately can come in and out-market and out-manage other people, you're going to be left standing when the dust settles. So if you're considering coming into the Amazon business right now, there's no better time to come in. I actually took a statistics course when I was in college, and I had to just scramble to barely make a C because I'm not very good at math. But the only thing I do remember out of that class is that big bell curve. I don't know if you've got them. I'm sure there's a name for it. Probably why I got a C. But it starts out to where when a new industry emerges, people are at the very, very bottom of that bell curve. And then the industry starts to take on growth and momentum, and people start up the bell curve. And then when they get to the very, very top of the bell curve, the market has peaked, it's saturated, it's matured, and then you're going to have the inevitable shakeout, and then only the strongest sellers are going to remain at the bottom of the bell curve. I personally believe right now that we're at the very, very beginning stages of that bell curve on the way up. I mean, obviously the newness is not there. However, we're still at the very, very base of the upside of the bell curve. So, all of my C academics aside off of that, I do think there's still a lot of room left. And again, there's a tremendous amount of room left for people who run this like a real business, and all the people who approach it half-heartedly, you're going to be able to beat them. So if you're deciding whether you want to get in the Amazon business or not, please don't let the factor of competition intimidate you. If you're not willing to put forth your best effort, you probably shouldn't enter. And that's probably true not only here but everywhere. But for those who are willing to run this as a business, there's a lot of room left at the end. So with that said, appreciate you listening here, and I hope that gives you a little bit of insight on whether you should start or even build and grow your Amazon business. So thank you for being here. Look forward to seeing you next time.